I, 27 male, have always been close with my younger sister, Mary, 20. Mary was overlooked by my dad from the moment she was born. My dad never wanted a daughter, and tensions with his ex-wife, Mary's mom, led to him basically excluding her from everything. Nothing she ever did was good enough for him, and she was often excluded from family gatherings. I always try my best to include her or even take her out, just the two of us, to make her feel better, but it's obvious that being excluded hurts her a lot. I'm my dad's golden child and grew up spoiled, and while she tries not to show it, I can tell Mary is jealous of the attention my dad gives me. Mary's 21st birthday is a month from now, and she's very excited about it. I live in a different state, but I made a promise to fly over on her birthday so I could take her out to get her first drink. We've been planning this for months, and I already bought the tickets. My dad, 56, is currently engaged to Janice, 57 female, and a few days ago he texted me to let me know that their wedding plans had changed and they plan to get married in her parents' yard next month. He said he knew it was short notice, but they agreed that a small ceremony would be better so they could go to the beach for their honeymoon while it was still nice. Now, my problem isn't the short notice. My problem is that day is also Mary's birthday. Not even a day before or later. He plans to marry on his daughter's birthday. I brought that up and my dad brushed it off, saying it was just a date and it wasn't like my sister was going to celebrate her birthday with us anyway. I told my dad I already had plans to fly down and celebrate Mary's birthday with her, and I couldn't make both events. He seemed shocked by this and asked why I didn't just cancel the birthday celebration to go to his wedding, since I was already paying to come down. I could even bring Mary along and celebrate with her there if it meant that much to me. I'll admit, this made me angry because the least he could do was acknowledge his daughter's birthday. I told my dad that I planned to spend the day with Mary and that I would only come to his wedding if she was invited and decided to go. He tried to argue with me, saying that birthdays come every year and weddings don't, to which I responded that this is his third wedding, so it's not that special, but my sister turning 21 is very special. My dad hasn't spoken to me since, but Janice and other family have been calling and texting me non-stop. Janice told me that my dad has been crying and miserable over what I said and that my selfishness had ruined their wedding. I'll admit that what I said may be harsh, but I also stand by it. I'm not the one being selfish, and if my dad wants his child at his wedding that badly, he can have both of us or nothing. However, my dad and family are still mad at me, saying that I'm being petty and ruining his big day. So, am I the idiot? This is your third wedding, it's not that special. Opie, you're a hero and not the idiot. I would bet every penny I have that your dad did this intentionally. Screw him. The only valid reason to go to his wedding is to crash it with Mary and make a scene. Not that I'm suggesting this. I wouldn't say they did this on purpose, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dad doesn't know his daughter's birthday. And from how it looks, he did not invite her to the wedding. Opie, you have to celebrate your sister's 21st birthday. Go on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and let everyone know how awful your dad is to your sister and how disappointed you are that he would get married on his daughter's 21st birthday. Really go off on the fact he could have chosen any of the other 364 days of the year, but no, he had to get married on her 21st birthday. I'm sure the dad is spinning some stories of the family to get them on his side. Unfortunately, he ain't telling them the truth, so you have to, OP. How much do you want to bet he had no idea how old his daughter was turning, and he didn't invite her himself? Is he even aware he has a second daughter? Someone should tell this poor man. What goes around comes around, and her 21st is a huge milestone. It says way more about your dad that his wedding was scheduled to conflict with it. Good for you for being a supportive influence on your sister, despite your father's awful behaviour. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings by far. I'm a 22-year-old female and my husband is a 26-year-old male. My siblings are 30 female, 32 male and 33 male. Between the 3 of them, they have a combined 14 children. They all have multiple children. None of them went to college and they all work lower-paying entry-level jobs. I graduated last year. I studied college and high school and worked as a nurse. My husband works on planes. Our household income is about $200,000 and the average where we live is about $80,000, I think. This is all relevant. My parents like hosting big family functions for every holiday, bringing the whole family together. Ever since I was a teenager, my siblings have always asked me for favours, mostly to babysit. I did it for a while when I was around 16, but I quickly realised they didn't appreciate anything and there was nothing in it for me, so I stopped. For the past 6 years, I've had the don't ask me for anything stance, since my siblings are the type to ask for favours, but never offer to help you if you need it. They always borrow money from our parents but never pay it back. My oldest brother is getting evicted, and he asked if he and his girlfriend and their 4 kids could stay with me and my husband. My husband and I own a 4-bed, 2-bath home. I told them no because they have a habit of settling in somewhere and not paying rent and refusing to leave. They also let their 4 kids destroy every rental they live in, colouring on the walls, holes in the walls, etc. My brother and his girlfriend are angry at me and they blew up at us at my mother's birthday party last week. They'll have to stay at a shelter, saying it's my fault, but I think it's their own lack of responsibility. My other 2 siblings agreed with my brother and they think I'm a sucky idiot. I think that my siblings suck and I don't want my house getting torn up by their heathens. I know that if I let them move in, I'd end up having to evict them and they wouldn't pay for anything at all. I think it's not fair that they always ask me for money because I make more money than they do, and they treat my husband and I like we're some kind of upper-class snobs because we worked hard and made good choices in life to be able to buy a house early. Am I the idiot for not helping my siblings? Specifically my brother, I guess. Edit, my brothers don't seem to know about protection, and my sister had her first at 16 and kept them coming after that. She has 6 kids with 6 different men, and she's always convinced every guy she meets is the one. I don't understand them. To be honest, we grew up in a normal middle-class household, and our parents taught us proper intimacy education. I really wish they'd all get it together, but none of them want to go to college or anything. Again, with the I'm poor but have 157 children. Come on, if you're low on money, just have 1 or 2 kids so nobody will starve or live in shelters. Why do people put themselves in this position? So that others in the family can pay for their family? These are not your children. Your siblings are not your responsibility. They're adults and should take care of themselves. If they were sick or had an accident and it was a one-time thing, okay, but no, they just don't pay rent for a habit. You are not the idiot, an ATM, or a free hotel. 6 kids with 6 different men. Yep, it's a habit. Don't help them, they will just spend all the money and try to suck more out of you. Homelessness is an awful thing, especially for kids. Your brother's attitude, however, has managed to overcome that. I feel like the shelter bit is an attempt at manipulation. Wouldn't you just go to your parents or in-laws? Huh? When no one else will take them in, even temporarily, there's probably a reason for that. I'd hazard a guess that no one wants their house damaged, and or to have to go through the eviction process. I, 38 female, live alone in the house I grew up in. It was left to me by my mother after she passed away 10 years ago. About 4 years ago, a couple about my age moved in next door and we've been at odds since day one. There have been numerous times and issues that we've disagreed on. I have 3 cats that I sometimes let out into my backyard. My neighbours have a dog that would jump the 5-foot chain-link fence separating our yards to chase my cats. I told my neighbours if I caught their dog doing it again, I'd call the cops. They actually dared to ask if I would be willing to split the cost of a taller privacy fence instead of, training your dog not to jump the fence. Obviously I refused as I wasn't the one causing the problem and the fence is technically on their property anyway, so they ended up putting in a taller fence. Then, they asked me to split the cost of taking down an ash tree that was on their property. It had become infested with some bug that killed the tree and dead limbs fell on their driveway. They had the city come out, and the survey guy said the tree was about 10% on my property. I told them the tree was theirs and they'll have to pay for it if they want it down because I don't have a problem with it. Needless to say, we're not friends. Unfortunately, they've also thrown some loud late-night parties that included bonfires and loud music that I had to call the cops for. I'm currently out of town visiting family for a couple of weeks. I have a friend who comes over to my house every day to check on my cats and check for mail and packages. In addition, I have medication for my cats that's delivered regularly. I got a notification the other day that some packages were delivered, so I texted my friend to let them know. But before my friend could get there, I got a notification from my Ring doorbell. So I pulled up the live feed and saw my neighbour on my patio. I asked him what he was doing and he said their package got delivered to my house by mistake, so he was just grabbing it. I told him to leave and that my friend would bring over his package when she came over. He said he wasn't waiting for that and tried to leave. I told him if he takes a package from my porch, I'm calling the cops. He shoved the package in front of the camera and said, "That's my name and address, OP, I'm taking my package." Then he walked away. So I called the police and told them he'd stolen a package from me and I had video proof. They said they would investigate. When my friend got there a little later, the police were talking to my neighbours. The police must have left while she was checking on my cat because when she went to leave, it was just my neighbours outside. The husband yelled at her to tell me that I was a huge idiot and that I needed to take the police off speed dial and let them deal with more important crap instead of using them as my own personal problem-solving service. You are the idiot. They sound like absolutely awful neighbours, and under any other circumstances I'd side with you in a second. But you called the cops and accused them of stealing their own package. They didn't steal from you. They fetched something that belonged to them off your porch. And while, yes, I suppose they were trespassing, if you get medication delivered, then you know that sometimes packages can't wait, and perhaps this was a situation like that, and it doesn't sound like you cared to listen to anything they had to explain. If you want to be seen as the better person than your idiot neighbours, you have to be the better person. OP, you are the selfish neighbour type. Good neighbours are friendly and kind to each other. A good neighbour would go 50-50 on a fence because it benefits them both. It also adds to the property value of both. A good neighbour would go 10% on the tree because it's also on their property and also benefits their property value. A good neighbour would understand that they are grabbing their own package. But if you intentionally foster bad relationships, you can only expect bad interactions. Also, domesticated dogs are generally not considered predators, though cats are notorious for destroying local bird populations. Sure, you don't get along, but stop calling the cops for trivial matters. Yeah, the police must hate her, and very surprising to hear she lives alone. OP, you're a 38-year-old woman. That's not old enough yet to be the nasty old lady neighbour who makes a huge deal out of everything, argues with neighbours, and calls the police to settle your one-sided disputes. Chill. My son, Tween, lives with me full-time. I get child support from his father. His father married, we never were, 8 years ago and has had 3 kids since then. Each time he filed to have child support reduced and each time he was denied. The judge said reducing child support because of having more kids incentivizes having more kids to screw over former partners. He said the child support will never go down until my son is 18. His wife contacted me. She said she has a high-risk pregnancy and needs time off work, but they can't afford to live off his salary since so much goes to child support. She asked me to agree to have it reduced. I said no because I didn't want my son to have less. She said I'm a selfish witch because I only work part-time and live primarily off her husband's salary. She said I should get a real job or find my own man instead of relying on someone else's for support. I said he was supporting his kid, not me, and it was her choice to have kids with someone who already had one he was obligated to care for. She said I'm a greedy idiot. To my mind, it isn't my money. It's my son's. It's for his care and he's entitled to it. Am I the idiot for caring about my kid but not hers? Not the idiot. If she and her husband can't afford more children, they shouldn't have more children. You're doing the job of a full-time single parent and a part-time job. You're using child support to support your child how it's supposed to be. Her children already benefit from a 2-parent household, which is worth a lot more than money, and she wants to take money away from your son, who doesn't have that. Forget her. Funny of her to call OP greedy when she's the one having another kid she can't afford and she's the one who wants to take money from a child. A child she knew about and knew the costs associated with their care well before she chose to have any of her own children. Not saying the ex isn't an equal participant in this nonsense, but her calling OP names is amusing. The only thing I can find against OP is her luck that she got saddled with such a useless co-parent. The judge is awesome. Just block this idiot lady. It's her choice to keep having babies with a guy that can't afford to. Child support is the right of the child, not the right of the mother. The only way a new man in your life would relieve the father is if that man agreed to legally adopt your child. If you agree to lower the dad's child support because of his childishness and his wife's callousness, you're affecting your child's rights. My 20 female brother Nate, 24, and his best friend Kyle, 23 male, have annoyed me for years. They've been friends since they were kids and I had to deal with both since Kyle was always over at our house. Kyle is a human chihuahua, small and yappy, and bites everybody but their owner. He loves to insult other people. He also loves acting helplessly. Nate is a bona fide white knight and always has to save Kyle. Kyle has managed to drive away several of Nate's girlfriends when they inevitably blow up when Kyle insults them, or when they break up after Nate prioritizes Kyle over them. However, Nate's latest girlfriend, Gemma, 26 of 1 year, has lasted the longest. Kyle did the whole insulting shtick, and it didn't faze her a bit. He did the whole, you don't know Nate as well as me and he cares about me more thing. Nothing. He did the helpless baby act and Gemma just started doing stuff for him. He doesn't know how to cook and needs to call Nate. Gemma comes over with a recipe book. He can't do his taxes. Here comes Gemma. I've literally laughed out loud at how she outfoxed him. Nate hosted a small watch party recently and Gemma and Kyle were naturally there. Instead of the usual, Kyle kept hanging off Gemma's shoulder. He asked her to explain everything and had her feed him snacks. I was dying. My brother looked angry, so I made a joke that his girlfriend had stolen his best friend. He yelled at me to shut the heck up and stormed out of our house. My mom said I wasn't being polite, but my friends and dad said it was funny. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Gemma is the reigning champ. She tamed the yapper. Let her enjoy her moment of glory. Like you said, if it was a small joke, then it was just regular sibling ribbing. If he's angry that his best friend and girlfriend are getting along, then that's on him. Again, glory to Gemma. I don't know, call me paranoid, but it almost seems like Nate likes it when Kyle drives off the girlfriend so that he doesn't have to break up with them. Most white knights I've met are really bad at being the bad guy, but now that Kyle and Gemma are buddies, when he's tired of this relationship, he's gonna have to do it himself. There's a chance Kyle will still be friends with Gemma. I get that she outfoxed him, however if I were your brother I'd probably be more upset because they seem a little too close. So, am I the only one that thinks Nate and or Kyle have more than platonic feelings for each other? I see what you're saying, but I think the brother enjoyed people fighting over who loved him more. He feels belittled because, this time, no one is fighting over him, and he's not the centre of a toxic little love triangle drama. Probably reading too much into this, but here it is.